Now, Juan, this one. One more just about the Marlins, then we'll look a little bit to the weekend quickly. But Marlins Stadium situation, it does look like it's going to happen, but a lot of people, obviously up here in the South Jersey, Philadelphia area, not as familiar as what's going down in Miami. Why don't you just fill the listeners in a little bit about what the situation's been, because it's been an ongoing situation. Everybody at least knows that, but it does look like it is going to happen, right?
Oh, yeah, this has been going on for about 3 ownership groups now that have tried to secure a baseball-only facility, and this current group finally, got together with the city of Miami and Miami-Dade County on a financing plan. This stadium is basically going to be at the site of the old Orange Bowl, which is west of downtown Miami. The old Orange Bowl is already pretty much torn down. They hope to break ground on the new stadium sometime later this year, probably in about November, December, thereabouts. And looking for a 2011 opening date for that. And when that happens, the Florida Marlins will become the Miami Marlins. So, a lot of excitement around the stadium, and I think it just totally changes the climate around this team because they didn't have the revenue streams at Dolphin stadiums. There was, an assumption that once some of these talented players that they've such a good job developing, once they got to a certain salary level, that they would no longer be with this team. They've already shown with the Hanley Ramirez signing that that's no longer going to be the case. So I think now there's a certain expectation that guys aren't going to be out the door as soon as they start getting up there in salary.
You're listening to Coastal Broadcasting. I'm Dennis Brown, Juan Rodriguez from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. Now, looking forward to this weekend. Certainly, as a beat reporter, you're always looking at, what are, the 2 or 3 big stories going on with the team that you're covering at any certain time. What are you looking for out of the Marlins coming into this series against the Phillies? The Phillies right on their heels, as we mentioned, half a game out in first place. What are you looking for out of the Marlins? What interests you about this weekend series?
Well, I just really curious to see how the starting pitching is going to do against this hot-hitting Phillies club. I mean, obviously, the Phillies are going to score a ton of runs in that ballpark, and, the Marlins have shown that they can, put some balls in the seats, too. If I'm not mistaken, the Marlins and Phillies are 1 and 2 in the National League in home runs, so it can potentially be a slugfest here. But the starting pitching is obviously going to be so key for the Marlins. You got, Hendrickson starting out on Friday, and, I think the Marlins are hoping he kind of sets the tone for the weekend. If the Marlins have a chance of taking 2 out of 3, it's got to start with that guy on the mound every day.
Now, when you're looking at this series and, getting a chance to see the Phillies, obviously, you don't see them all that much, but you do get to, I'm sure, watch them on occasion. They're a team in the division. They're somebody that you do have to pay attention to as far as at least knowing what's going on within the division. What impresses you, at least from afar, about what the Phillies have been able to do? I mean, obviously last year they were far out. They were able to make that big run at the end of the season, Jimmy Rollins the whole bit, and they were able to, actually win the division. Some of it a Mets collapse, but some of it the Phillies playing well. And again, they're right back in it, and they're right back within a half a game of first place. What impresses you about what the Phillies have been able to do here over the past couple of years?
Well, I think the first thing you start with is the guy in the manager's office. I mean, Charlie Manuel has been under fire at several times during his tenure there, and the way he kind of kept this team united last season and kept them in the mix in position to make that run like they did at the end of the season, I thought was just so impressive. And just in my dealings with Charlie Manuel, I just think he's a wonderful guy. I like the way he kind of goes about the job. So I was kind of happy for him that the Phillies never had a knee-jerk reaction and made a move with him. And then, you just go down from there. You have to just love that offense that the Phillies, put out there every day. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this is going to be a 3rd straight year with a MVP in the National League coming from Philadelphia, especially if Chase Utley keeps doing what he's doing. I mean, we all know what Ryan Howard has done. You go back to the second half of last season, it seems like Pat Burrell has kind of found his stroke again. So it's just such a devastating lineup top to bottom, and I think they have one of the very best pitchers in baseball in Cole Hamels right now. Might not be this year, but I definitely see a Cy Young in the future for him. So I have a lot of pieces in place to kind of sustain, this momentum for several years down the road, I think.
And one last thing here with Juan Rodriguez from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. One more here and we'll get you out. What do you think, as you're a beat reporter for the Florida Marlins, so following the team, what is the hardest thing for a team when they head into Philadelphia? Is it the fact that a lot of runs can be scored because obviously it's a smaller ballpark? Is it the lineup? You mentioned Cole Hamels. I mean, what's the biggest challenge for a team when they're coming in to play the Phillies on a given weekend?
I have to say it's going to be the ballpark. It's a lot like Coors Field used to be and still is to a certain extent. I think a lot of people still think of Denver as the best hitter's ballpark in baseball, but I don't think that's the case anymore with places like Philadelphia and Cincinnati. So from a hitter, you have to kind of not let that get in your head and let your stroke get too long. And then as a pitcher, you just have to realize that balls that are going to be caught in other places are going to find the seats here. And even if you do make a good pitch, so it's a place that really tests you mentally as well as physically. And like you said, with that Phillies lineup, you just you can never let up, and even when you're down, you can never feel like you're out of the game there also.
Well, the Marlins certainly are a very impressive team. They continue to fight through, and they really don't let themselves get down. So you do have a very interesting team to follow down there. We are looking forward to this series, and it does make it a lot more exciting. Not for Florida Marlin fans. I'm sure they would have been happier with the 2 or 3 game lead they had earlier in the week, but it does make it a lot more interesting, when you have games in the late May where you're within a half a game of the first place team. There's a lot of excitement going into a weekend like that. So
absolutely should be fun.
So thanks a lot for giving us a few minutes, and Juan Rodriguez from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel doing a great job as always. Thanks a lot.
Anytime.